There are two major bonus components of this project. The first one is if you register, you can share it with your entire extended family. That's my invitation. That's my intrinsic feeling of gratitude and wanting to spread that through you, through your whole family. That if you want to take the course, I'd love for you to actually see if you can move some of these concepts through your plan, to see if you can shift some of the relationships that you have, some of the traditions that you have around food, around giving, around the natural intrinsic abundance of the season. The second major benefit is there's really great guest dialogues, guest speakers that will be coming in from the living foods world, the raw foods world, the Ayurvedic community, and also the Anusara Yoga teaching community, that I'm really pulling from these three communities to bring in some great leaders to talk with me about a lot of these topics. And those dialogues will just simply appear. And this is my daughter, Indigo Claire. And we're here to tell you about the Evolve Your Winter Traditions project, which is really a project about rewriting our traditions, really feeling from the inside out what we want to deeply celebrate and what we want to pass on to our, to our children. What do we want to take from our elders and pass on to our children? So this project is going to unfold on a number of different levels. It's about refining what we're eating so that we actually start to up-level our health through a living foods diet moving through the winter season. Instead of just defaulting into what the rest of culture is doing, which is eating a ton of processed food, processed sugars, flours, a lot of meat, a lot of alcohol, we're actually going to create a support system within the course itself to start to refine what we're eating, what we're feeding our families, creating great, healthy options of living foods, and looking at what a living foods diet combined with an Ayurvedic understanding really means for heading into the winter season. So for all the living foods people out there, it's a real chance to get educated in terms of Ayurvedic theory. And part of the other workshops in the series are going to involve some of the great Ayurvedic theory about using spices as medicine, and some of the more subtle concepts about how to build a deeper immune system, and how to hold a greater amount of prana in the tissue of your body throughout the winter season. Other workshops are going to really get into how we're giving. This time of year, nature has an intrinsic abundance. There's an intrinsic storage crop that comes in through the fall. A lot of our heavier nutrients come in the late fall storage crops. And so there's a natural experience in the body for those who eat seasonally of being very rich inside. And how do we give from that place? How do we give from a place of feeling really deeply nourished, really centered? And what does that look like? It might not look like as much commercialism or as much stuff. It might just simply look like spending more time together, looking at what we value and how to pass these values on. That if we look at these holidays, what we see is that they're naturally a reflection of the abundance that arises in nature. And what's arising in nature right now is basically the fat crop, the storage crop. Nuts and seeds, the slower burning sources of fuel for the human body. Now, as we start to eat more fat this time of year and burn fat, it actually has an emotional experience in the human body of love, of abundance. That fat as a fuel source pushes our body into the parasympathetic nervous system response. That as we digest and metabolize fat, there's a relaxation response, and we actually just feel more at ease and more in touch. And that should actually be the natural energetic flow of our holiday season cycle. This moving inward, this turning inward from digesting a deeper fuel source is part of what enables a deeper experience of reflection, of moving energy inward to refine. And as nature in winter moves into this process of refining, of latency, then in spring the seed will sprout and the energy moves outward again. So if we as humans don't allow ourselves to reflect that pulsation of nature by moving our energy in the winter before moving it out in the spring, then we're actually out of sync. And if we get out of sync in this way, our immune system gets out of balance, and we'll be much more likely to have coughs and colds and flus, depression, and mental disorders. So what this course is about is there's a number of different levels. I love you too. It's about being in love with each other. And it's also about real tools of moving living foods into our families so that we're eating a higher pranic diet. And it's also about really refining what it is to give from the heart, to give from a place of deep meaning, instead of just recycling stuff from Asia. Lost it.
Consuming stuff from Asia.
Consuming stuff from Asia. Thank you, Winston. Instead of just consuming stuff from Asia. So there's a component of living foods education. There's a component of giving from the heart and looking at how to invoke and how to restore some sacred earth-based, rhythm-based traditions. And there's also one other component of really seeing what ayurveda has to offer as the healing science that's most attuned to nature's rhythms, and looking at what we can pull from that system of medicine in this time of year, how we can bring spices into our medicine cabinets, and how we can start to use a living foods diet more attuned to our constitutions and according to seasonal living. So it's really going to be a wild journey. We have so many incredible special guests from the living foods world, from the Ayurveda world, and from the Anusara yoga world who will magically appear in dialogue throughout the course. Great newsletters with recipes and helpful tips to move your family and extended family into a deeper conversation to evolve your holiday traditions. Thank you. Namaste.